you lost weight only to gain it right back after returning to your routine? Did your diet work for someone else but not you? Rockin' That ID Life helps you understand your genetic makeup to find a lifestyle that fits your needs. Together, you and RockinThatIDLife.com can focus on your health and meet your goals today. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. If you haven't heard, Center Ice Brewery beer is now exclusively available at beer stores around town, so make sure you pick some up on your next milk and eggs run. That's Center Ice Brewery. Please drink responsibly. Welcome to... Oops. Was not on auto switch. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 28, which is episode number 346 all time of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated, never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Special thanks to RockinThatIDLife.com and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. It is Wednesday, March 23rd, and we are broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook to interact with the show. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just do a search for us. You'll find us. I'm Kurt Price, and my co-hosts for tonight's big show are Bill Day and Jeff Ponder. And on tonight's big show, we'll discuss the trade deadline and the Blues acquisition of Nick Leddy, the 5-2 win versus Washington on Tuesday night. Torrey Krug's apparent injury in that game. You know when you're reading off something off the notes, and it's Krug. I'm just like blah 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 blah. Krug.
Krug. Yep.
Torrey Krug's apparent injury in that game, and we'll look at Husso and Binnington lately, and the talk Blues goaltending moving forward, and we'll also take a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs' new Justin Bieber designed jerseys and give our takes on those. Someone's got the TV on. All that and more on Let's Go Blues Radio. It's been a few weeks.
It's the phone.
It's the phone.
Oh, we'll turn your damn phone off. What kind of? This is you take 2 weeks off and you show up and you do this shit.
Right.
Actually, we do have some news to report. So Bill, we mentioned last week he was traded to TSN. We unfortunately did not receive the paperwork when we originally acquired him from some other podcast.
Yeah,
from Sportsnet. So he actually was not allowed to be traded. So he is staying put.
Was TSN on your no trade list, or was it one of the no teams?
No. Anywhere in Canada was on my trade list.
See, if you had 3 no's to go to not go to, what would they be?
Oh jeez, this could get really ugly really fast.
You got 3. Go, Bill. And then we'll go Jeff, and then we'll go me. How's that?
Oh God.
Yeah. I would say the Blues Fan Report.
Okay.
Let's Go Wings.
Let's Go Wings. Okay, that's a good one.
I don't know.
Okay, you got 2.
I have a limited no trade clause.
Right.
Yeah, very limited.
What's yours, Jeff? You got 3?
Well, I'll have to go with Teal Town because I hate those guys.
Oh, Teal Town. Yeah,
they're the worst.
They're the worst.
So no Teal Town for me. No 2 guys 1 cup because they'd have to change their name. And I don't want to go on Blues Hockey Podcast because I don't know enough about wrestling.
It's a good one.
So those are my 3.
It's a good one. I don't. I would not go on the chirp because I'm not a Let's Go Brandon guy. I would not go on the drop because they're not doing shows anymore, and I would not go on. Oh God, I don't know. I'll give 2. I'm not going to get in too much trouble.
Yeah, same as me.
All right.
Yeah, that you and Paul just don't get along.
Well,
that's true.
I'm very difficult.
You are. I agree, actually.
Just in general.
Mm-hmm.
So the sickness, we were all down with the sickness at one point or another in the past few weeks. So you guys, how are you guys feeling now?
My boy is sick again. He
So
was the
Jeff's
one that
got it
passed it
coming
on.
back to him.
Yeah, it's going to be coming back around apparently. Yeah, he was the one that gave it to my wife and I 2 weeks ago, and now this is more of a cold, but he's also got it with a fever, a bad cough, chills.
I was gonna say,
not fun.
I heard recently. I think Amy told me this. I think it was Amy. I'm not sure. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was. She said that she heard there's like 80 different cold viruses worldwide.
I thought you were going to say that Amy told you that Shay was sick, and I'm like, how does she know my son's sick?
She's in the know. She lives over on the west side.
Okay, I see her. She's peering through the bushes there. I see her.
She makes her rounds.
Yep.
But once you get one, then you can't get it again. That specific strain, but they're all floating around out there. Mm-hmm. And if you get sick like 40 or 80 times, or if you get sick twice a year for 40 years, if you get sick, and you get each one of these strains, you should never get sick again. That's what I was told.
So go around licking doorknobs is what you're saying.
Yeah. Bill, you're nodding like you've heard this before.
I'd say it's fuzzy math. I think there's a lot more, and there's a lot more mutation as we've learned over the last 2 years with what 5 different strains of coronavirus that
I think she's like the rhinovirus, the common cold.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's talking about. Yeah.
And that very well may be.
And if that's the case, if once you would think that once you've been sick early on in your life for say 20 years, and then you've been sick a number of times, you think your odds of getting sick would lessen as you get older because you've had more of the strains, right? So there's less to get you. That's the issue I have with it. That if that were true, then the older folks would be getting sick less. But I don't know. Maybe
I don't know how biology works.
Where's Winning Unlimited? He seems like he would know this.
Right. And
is he in the
I'm going to say what our new Supreme Court
numbers
justice
guy.
I'm going to say what our new Supreme Court justice today had to say. I'm not a biologist. I can't answer that.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, being asked like off the wall questions. What's your religion?
Yeah.
What? First off, you shouldn't ask that question.
Right. There is no religious test under the Constitution, Senator.
Yeah, it's like,
that was my favorite answer.
Yeah. Okay, but we don't talk
before we go
on the
off the rails. Before we go off the rails. Yeah. No, I think I'm back to finally like 90%. I got the Nashville crud, so it was a particularly bad strain that I'm pretty sure
country music.
I'm pretty sure I picked it up amongst the tens of thousands of revelers post Blues game on this trip a week and a half ago, and I got knocked out twice. So was out for a couple days, started feeling better, then worked 13 hours one day, which was the dumbest thing you could possibly do, and 2 days later I'm back down with the sickness, and went to urgent care, and they said what they told me is that there are so many viruses going around right now because everything was dormant for 2 years and they all went in on the action. Because
is that how viruses work?
Yeah.
They haven't had action in a while, so they're
all at the betting tables right now. Who's gonna win?
Yeah. everything is out there, and it's not good. But
that doesn't sound like it's scientific to me, but okay.
Yeah. How
does a virus know if it's been infecting people? Otherwise,
Kurt, Bill's not a biologist. Come on,
I'm not a biologist.
Okay,
right. But I was tested for flu, negative. Tested for COVID, negative. So some other virus, because they said whatever I had was not bacterial, and it just had to run its course. So I basically slept all weekend again.
The Lord works in mysterious ways, Bill. Just use that for everything.
There you go.
The good Lord willing, I'll get better.
I was I thought mine was mostly allergies. I never had a fever. It was just a sore throat for a while, and then just a congestion, bad sneezing, and just a bad nose issues. And I slept a lot.
Yeah, no,
I was
I
gonna say
had.
my son's usually not one to take naps. He literally slept all day yesterday. Like he was in bed until midnight, or I'm sorry, noon. Got up, literally just was out of it for like an hour. Went back to sleep from like 1 until like 5:30, and it was just like that never
Also,
happens. So yeah, it
I'll tell
just
you what
knocked
though,
him on his ass.
sleeping when you're sick is like the best. Like a good sleep when you're
Mhm.
sick.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
that moment when you wake up and you're like you have to assess, like, okay, am I better? I slept for 6 hours. I think I feel better.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
oh, I am 25% better. I can feel it's noticeable. And so like, okay, good. It's on the way out. Thank God.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of that, but yeah, I had the worst chills I've ever had in my
Oof.
life. Like I've never been so cold. And
That
I could not wear warm enough clothes, and yeah, it was like flannel lined jeans and a thick sweater, sitting on the just like curled up on the couch in the basement under a blanket, and I was still shivering. It was pretty bad.
Plus, people don't realize that you're a furry, so you actually put on your bear costume.
this is
And
True.
two shows in a row you've went furry.
I have gone furry 2 shows in a row.
Are you
What
trying
does
to
that tell you
establish
about
something
me?
about yourself? I don't know.
I'm slowly getting it out there. In a year from now, I'm going to be wearing a furry outfit every
Yeah.
single episode.
I mean, I'm afraid to ask you to turn around. I'll see a tail.
You don't want to look.
I don't want
You
to
don't want to
where
know what's back there.
I want to know where it's connected either. The official beer is episode number 346. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I'm C Price 12, Jeff is J Ponder 94, and Bill is Billy Blue Note 33. Jeff, what is your beverage tonight, sir?
Well, before we get to mine, I want to mention Matt Harris says in the chat, beer of the show is Crown Vanilla and Cherry Pepsi. Just trust me on it. That
It's-
sounds interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Cherry
Rum and-
vanilla.
Might give
yeah,
that
rum and
might give that a
cokes.
try this weekend.
Rum and cokes are good, so that's yeah, I can see that.
I can see that being good. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Uh,
since we're on the alcohol, I tried. I thought, I had this past weekend. You know what? I took a shot of Screwball, the peanut butter whiskey, which is delicious, and I thought, you know what? I'll put some M&Ms in the bottom of the shot glass. That sounds like it'd be pretty good. M&M, chocolate peanut butter, and I took. You can't taste the M&Ms whatsoever. It's all whiskey.
Did you
the
let
M&Ms
them
were a
kinda
hindrance in getting the shot down.
Did-
it was
Did you
bad.
let them stew in there for a little while before you took the shot?
I don't think that would have. I mean, the candy coating may have dissolved, but I don't think the chocolate would have done much. I was afraid they would stick to the bottom too, so I wanted to get it down pretty quick. But it was I felt like it was in a choke on them, so it was not a good thing. Maybe like a chaser kind of thing with the M&Ms would be better. But anyway, go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Matt Harris also adds, Screwball is wonderful. I love it.
It is.
So he's with you.
It is delicious.
I've only had
hate
the
whiskey.
off-brand. I had the Screwball once, but I was already very drunk, so I don't want to judge it. But I've had an off-brand of it, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I don't do whiskey. Whiskey shots. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, and I'll
we're a
like force
whiskey
it down.
house.
Okay, but the peanut butter whiskey, I'll do that all day long. That's good.
All right, so my
Speaking
beer.
of whiskey,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of whiskey, if for those that missed me tweeting about it, in Nashville, the big thing for me, I did a double of Pappy 12 year, so my Pappy cherry is gone. So it was very good.
All right.
So my beer is the Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. So that is out in stores, folks. One of my favorite summer drinks, just a good beer to sit on a warm day and sit on your deck and enjoy the nice weather. So
and you're drinking it on a chilly day. It's rainy and windy.
Yeah.
Right.
When I first saw it in the store, I saw it in the store last week, and I thought it was one of those days where it was still like 40 degrees, and I'm like, it's probably too early for me to buy this, but I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And yeah, one of the nice days over the weekend, I had one, and I was like, okay, it's still good. It's just, you got to pick and choose when you're in March.
Trying to remember which summer shandy is my favorite. Leinenkugel is up there. It was my favorite for a while, but then I had one last year. Oh, what was it? Was it 312? I think it was 312's summer shandy, lemon shandy. It's delicious. Okay, anyway, sorry. Go Bill.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, perfect. Like it looked and felt like Russian winter out there today after the warm weather that we had over the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go with something more of the winter beer variety. So I did. Of course, he turned it the wrong way. Didn't practice this before the show.
We always do it.
It's always backwards.
Yeah. So Main and Mill Imperial Breakfast Stout, American Oak Aged. Very good. It's vanilla maple syrup and cinnamon are the primary flavors. A little bit of coffee, a little bit of chocolate. Very good. Very good breakfast stout offering.
Yeah, you're a breakfast stout guy.
Yep.
Mine's not an alcohol beverage. It is a sparkling water. I don't know. I went up to get a beer and I saw this in the fridge. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the sparkling water out. I just bought this stuff that you ever try this stuff is Limitless. You guys drink sparkling water at all?
Oh yeah.
The Limitless?
Yeah.
I bought this at Sam's. The mango sunset. It's good. I mean, it's okay. I'm trying to acquire the taste for sparkling waters because I used to hate them. But sometimes you want something different than water, but you don't want soda. So I'm gonna try and acquire a taste for these things.
Sometimes you feel like a sparkle. Sometimes you don't.
Right. And it's in the glass. True. I do have it in the center ice brewery glass.
Mine's rubbing off a little bit. Do you put yours in the dishwasher?
I do.
Your beer glasses?
I do, but I save it for special occasions. I don't use it all the time.
No, I mean I only use it for the show and maybe if I have friends over. But yeah, I guess I've had mine maybe a little longer. I need to maybe reach out to Steve and see if we can get some.
I got mine at Christmas, I think. So
yeah, I've had mine over a year. So okay. Anyway, so in the Facebook chat, Jesse Hill chimes in and says the show looks better with Bill back.
Oh,
well, thank you, Jesse.
Go,
BWBB.
We officially have one person who likes you.
That'll keep me for another 3 years.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Matt Harris in the YouTube chat says, you'll always remember your first Pappy.
So. That I will. That I will.
Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues history Twitter account, March 23rd, 2006. The St. Louis Blues hold a press conference to discuss the sale of the team from the Laurie family to the Dave Checketts group. What a mess that era was. That handful of years that selling the team every few years, it sucked. Both ownership groups, I'll give them, while they own the team, they tried desperately to win. They did.
Yeah.
But they were like monkeys fucking a football when they were leaving. It was especially Laurie, set the team back a number of years with getting rid of Pronger and dump a big contract.
Oh, man. Yeah. And that's what sucks. You look back at like,
okay, get my basketball team. I'm going to trade your best player and go back to Arkansas.
Yep. The thing that really pissed me off about that is we really believed in him. Like him and his wife were like sitting down on the glass. I remember for a lot of the playoff games, and like they were really, really trying to win. And they were fans that were banging on the glass. You'd see them in the broadcasts, and it's like these people are awesome. Like these are the types of people we want to own our team. And then. Yeah, like you said, Kurt, like one thing happens, all of a sudden it's, okay, we're done. Let's sell off assets and try to sell this team. And it became such a shit show. And it was like you almost forgot how good it felt to have stable ownership for the time that they felt that way. And
thankfully now we've got solid, stable, smart ownership for the first time in local. Yeah. Local is big for the first time in I mean, Shanahan seemed like a good local, group, but there were problems with that.
Right.
I mean, we've probably got the best ownership group we ever had.
Yeah,
The
I agree.
Solomons were great to the players, but they didn't manage the team well. They got into trouble, into debt. So it was just, I mean, every ownership group, I'm sure, has their pluses and minuses, but I think this one, a lot more pros than cons to Stillman's group. So
Yeah, I'm sure that in 30 years we'll hear something about what was going on during the Stillman era. There's going to be something negative, I'm
maybe.
sure.
And if he
But
sells in 20
it's
years,
not going to be anything like we've heard, in my opinion, I think, from the past owners that we've seen.
Right. Purina just trying to make a buck off the team, willing to sell him off to Saskatoon. Harry Ornest not being able to pay for the players to travel.
Right.
The
Shanahan and the stock options scandal, the backdating scandal.
Well, with the Shanahan era was the part of the Pat Quinn, Steven Shanahan stuff too, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
That was them.
Yep.
Yep.
I have mixed emotions with Purina. On one hand, they stepped in and saved the team. Right. On the other hand, when they won it out, and they just washed their hands of the club and locked the doors, sent no one to the draft. Oh, yeah. That sucked. And they whittled the entire staff of the arena down to, I think it was like 3 employees.
Yeah, I was looking through past Blues drafts the other day, and you still see that. What year was that? 83?
83.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still see like where it says 1983, no draft picks, and it's just like, oh my god, it still stands out like a sore thumb in 2022.
Thankfully, we traded away our first round pick. Might have traded away our second round pick too. I don't know, but I know we traded our first round away way before, so we didn't lose a first round pick, but still. March 23rd, 2003, Reed Lowe received 2 games for instigating a fight after Trianic was hit in the head. Jeff Finley got 4 games for grabbing Hatcher while he was in the penalty box after Hatcher was punching on Dimitra. Tyson Nash fought Steve Ott, and Barrett Jackman fought Brendan Morrow. This game, if you were a Blues fan alive during this era, you remember this game. This one stands out like a sore thumb. The Jeff Finley, for one, grabbing Hatcher, because Hatcher was hated. This game was in like the late stages of the Blues Stars heated rivalry, and and Hatcher was hated. I hated Hatcher.
Oh, he was one of my least favorites.
And Finley was a guy that was always a whipping boy for Blues fans. He's like the, what is he? The Scandella? He's probably not that bad, but he was run through the ringer.
I think he might
be
think so?
At
Scandella level.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was constantly the whipping boy for fans, but then when he reached out of the penalty box and grabbed Hatcher off of Dimitra, I was like, yes.
I remember there was
saved Dimitra's life.
There was a camera angle that was down like by where the goal is, and you literally just see like Hatcher going after Dimitra, and you just see this body pop out of the box and just grab Hatcher. And I just remember that camera angle because I remember watching it and just thinking, that looks like something out of a cartoon. Like, it doesn't even look real.
Yeah. You don't see stuff like that anymore.
No.
It's like Kerber said, I think it was on Twitter this morning, with Tampa and was it Ottawa? The bench is cleared. And they were somebody went after somebody, and the bench is cleared in between periods at the end of a period. And Kerber commented on that and said, "We need more of this. No dirty stuff, but we need more intense hatred between teams." And I agree with him to a certain extent. I think hockey is missing that nastiness. I'm like I said, I agree with Kerber. No, not pushing for dirty stuff, but none of the McSorley and Brashear stuff. But just the animosity, the pushing, shoving, the the bench is clear because someone's doing something and people are barking at each other. That kind of stuff. That's fun. Oh wow, YouTube chat is going bananas.
Yeah. You need to
Yep.
boot that bot. That's pretty
Holy
bad.
cow. Let's see.
Yeah.
Porch.
So no, while you're saying that, I'll add that Ken Morris, I'm actually going to correct you here. He says history will recall one of the highlights of the Stillman era was the outstanding podcast by three gents on Let's Go Blues Radio. First of all, you don't need to kiss our asses, Ken. We love you no matter what. Second of all, this show started in the previous era. We started in the Check-Its era.
Yeah, we're 10 years.
Yeah, which is crazy. It's crazy to think we have been part of the Blues longer than the Stillman group.
Mhm.
Well, he was a minority owner, so that's kind of crap. That's not really true, but you know what I mean.
Longest running Blues podcast by far. First Blues.
Yeah, we Beyond Checkerdome was neck and neck with us for a long time, but now they're no
Yeah,
they're no more.
yeah, they started a couple years after we started.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they've stopped.
They were
doing
good.
shows.
It's a shame. I enjoyed them.
It was a laid back show. Yeah. Okay, I think and Matt Harris said, "Who let the Blackhawks fan in?" Into the chat.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Bobby Hull.
That is a bad bot. Ooh.
Bobby Hull.
Yeah, for those of you listening who have no idea what's going on in the podcast, sometimes in the YouTube chat, just live shows, even just people who post videos, there are bots that'll just come in and leave ridiculous comments. And yeah, we just had one that I don't even want to say what its name was because good Lord.
Yeah, winning unlimited has arrived in the chat, and we had a question from him earlier. It was about the cold, the common cold, and
Yes.
how many strains of common cold are out there, and if you catch one, can you ever catch that strain again? I guess it's the rhinovirus, right? And can you catch them all and then never get the common cold again? That's what we were talking about earlier. So, if you have insight on that, anyway,
he's closest thing to a biologist we have.
Sure, so. Right, close enough.
Yeah.
March 23rd, 2013, Yarrow Halak got his 16th shutout for the St. Louis Blues, tying Glenn Hall for the most shutouts in Blues history. And then exactly 1 year later, on March 23rd, 2014, Brian Elliott got his 16th shutout for the St. Louis Blues, tying Glenn Hall for second most shutouts in Blues history. That's crazy.
Yet he was not the starter. The Blues went out and got Ryan Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, you know what's happening on March 23rd, 2022 through 2 periods in Colorado?
What?
Vancouver is shutting out Colorado, and Yarrow Halak is in there.
Yarrow Halak.
Is it? What's the score? Last I saw it was nothing.
It's 0-0 through 2 periods.
Yep. Okay.
So.
Vancouver. March 23rd, 2019, the St. Louis Blues defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3. Blues scored 3 goals in 75 seconds. Alex Steen became the 10th Blues player with 100 goals on home ice, and Jordan Binnington became the fastest Blues goalie to 20 wins in 25 decisions. This game was I watched this game from Ballpark Village at was it Fox Sports Live, I guess, at the time or something, Fox Sports Midwest Live, and the place went bananas. That was a good game.
I was in attendance for this game. Actually it was the one game we used to do this. We don't do it anymore because prices have gotten ridiculous, but this is the last year that we had our hockey team actually used to get like a big group, and we would all go. And so, like, we were all rowdy. We all went to center ice before, and so we're all just already just blitzed. So then they score those 3 goals in 75 seconds. I mean, it's literally like looking around like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, is this really happening?
Yep. Yep. Because this was, and the Blues were hot, right, at this time.
Yeah.
And they're playing a very good Lightning team. And this was like a huge test, right? and they
Right.
that was a great game.
Right, because we had that close game in February where we won 1-0 in overtime. Right,
Yes, right.
Shen scored the overtime winner,
Right.
and Tampa Bay was pretty tough favorites, and as they have been ever since. And yeah, it was a statement game. It was like this really isn't a fluke, and
Yep.
yeah, that was a good run.
It was fun run.
Yeah, that ended well.
Winning Unlimited says I can ask biologists tomorrow about the common cold question. Awesome, great. I'd love to get some scientific feedback on that. That'd be great. And I can pass along, and I can either say, "Hey, Amy, you were spot on," or "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about." One of the two.
Yeah, if she's wrong, I have her address. I'm coming to her house, and I'm gonna tell her to her face, and I'm
Okay.
gonna put my finger in her chest, and I'm gonna say, "You never tell a lie again." I'll do it.
She'll be like, "Okay, whatever." Okay, we're gonna after the break, we're going to discuss the trade deadline stuff. Nick Leddy acquired by the Blues, and we'll get into the Blues. Also, get into the Blues win against the Washington Capitals last night. After this word from ID Life.
You don't live your life like the guy you see at the gym powerlifting 7 days a week. You also don't live it like the cycling class instructor or the vegan who gets her steps every day. So why go to the vitamin store and try the same stuff they're using and hope it meets your needs? Newsflash, it doesn't. RockinThatIDLife.com is here to help you better understand how you respond to food and exercise. Their supplements are developed to make sure you're using quality products you can trust to achieve the results that are meaningful to you. Is your goal to improve overall energy, achieve deeper sleep, lose or gain weight? The answer to all of those options? Rockin' That ID Life can help. Our friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com is here to help you do life better and achieve your goals, not someone else's. Get started today by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com or emailing Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com and start your betterment journey today.
Okay, so we got some YouTube action about that common cold question. So Amy's in there and she clarifies, I got my numbers mixed up. Over 160 strains of common cold. So 80 years of 2 colds per year should then mean that you'll never get sick again. I think the question boils down to, if you catch one strain of common cold, are you then immune to that particular strain for the rest of your life? I think that's what it boils down to. And then if you catch all of them, then you can't get them anymore. I think that's what she's basically saying.
And I think it comes down to how good is your immune system.
I guess, yeah.
Right, because if you have no immunity,
right,
and you catch it, you're screwed.
I guess, but if that's true, because if your immune system can't learn that strain, you're not going to be immune to it, right? Yeah. Anyway,
right.
I'm not a doctor. She goes, but anyway, LGB. After a shootout loss to Pittsburgh on the 17th and a 5-4 loss to Columbus on the 19th, we headed into Monday's trade deadline. The deadline was at 2 p.m. on Central on Monday, and 33 trades were made. 54 players were moved. I'm trying to not read the YouTube chat because I'm curious of the answer, but I'm trying to talk about the trade deadline. The Blues' only move came in the final hour before the 2 p.m. deadline. Blues acquired defenseman Nick Leddy and Luke Witkowski from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for defenseman Jake Wallman, forward Oscar Sundqvist, and a second-round pick in the 2023 draft, which is supposed to be very deep. Detroit does retain half of Leddy's salary, which is about $5.5 million.
It's very nice of them. I like
it.
That.
It was, yeah. It had to be done for us to.
Don't you just love the Red Wings? Just love them.
Oh yeah.
And they only charged us that second round pick for it.
Well, okay. So the response to this trade was, I think they were being nice on the radio today, the sports talk. They were saying, there was some negative comments. I was like, it was like all negative. Everyone
It
hated
was.
almost everyone was like, especially right away, right? Me
The
included.
the best is if you jump on Instagram and look at the Blues account when they made the graphic for the trade.
Yeah.
Look, every comment, like the first like 15 comments are no, you're stupid, fuck this, no, and it was just like, wow.
Yeah, it got, we've acquired Osgood level stuff,
Yeah.
But so, and me included, I was not particularly happy and I don't know, Jeff, you weren't either, and I think Bill, you said you weren't happy with I think the second round pick kind of threw you that was like pissed you off, right?
Right.
Bill? Yeah.
Right. I was not blown away. I liked the fact that they brought in a Leddy, probably the best defenseman left on the board at that point. But yeah, no, that the having to pay the pick to, for them to cover the salary, that was a little
and I
tough to
get
swallow.
that. I get that. And like I look at and because I'm with you, Bill, that's still the one hang up I have is having to give up yet another draft pick in a trade like this. And I get that you have to, but it makes me question, was there a bidding war in here? Was there another team that was involved? Could you not have possibly gotten that salary retained with a 4th round pick? Like, was there a possibility? And listen, there's no insider knowledge on this show. We'll never know from Doug Armstrong. He's very tight-lipped. But I'm just saying, like, 2nd round pick, that seems really high when you're giving up the guys you gave up as well. It irks me a little bit because it's like, eventually you have to stop giving up all your high picks. And this was another one where it's another high pick going away.
And these high picks that are going away tend to be to get rid of salary. You know what I mean? And I think
Right.
when Sundqvist was signed, we all love Sundqvist when he's healthy, right? But when we did sign him, we were saying that's a lot for a 4th line player, So and the term was kind of long for a 4th line player. So, but we liked him. He was good at what he did, but it was just kind of hard to swallow. And then the fact that after I'd sat and looked at this trade for a little while, and I'm kind of like analyzing it more, and I kind of like, okay, well, and I'm trying to understand the reasoning why this trade was made. And I know why we wanted Leddy at the time, like you said, Bill, best defenseman available at the time, with less than an hour to go in the deadline.
Yeah.
But so Sundqvist was not healthy this season. He's often not healthy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was hurt a lot. And he wasn't going to be healthy for playoffs. That they said that he probably wouldn't be healthy until off season.
Right.
So
there were twice over the last week I had composed a tweet about get the corpse of Oscar Sundqvist off the ice because he has been so ineffective. And I don't want to be that negative, so I didn't put it out there. But his game, like he needs a year off and let his body recover. The way he doesn't have a natural skating stride. It's always been a little bit awkward, and I think that's taken a toll on it. And then having gone through the 2019 playoffs and blocking the shots, and and trying to be that kind of player since then has just taken a toll on his body. And then I don't think he's ever properly recovered from the surgery. Hopefully we don't get another.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
hopefully we don't get more rap about the Blues doctors screwing up more surgeries and dumping it on Detroit, but I don't know. Getting him off of the roster was something I thought had to be a priority, and so him gone. Right.
I'll add. You're talking about him being injured. I'll say, I think you talk about his way that he plays, factoring into him being injured so much. I think the way the seasons have been structured the last couple of years have been part of that too, because of COVID. they took that break, and then it's been shorter off seasons. So like you don't have the amount of time you usually get, and plus like the Blues Cup run 2019 as well. That's a shorter off season for them. So I feel like with the shorter off seasons, the less amount of times, plus, like last year, it felt like, especially at the end of the season, it was every other night they were having back-to-backs, and it was just, it takes a toll on you. And a player like him, a guy who's blocking shots, a guy who's physical on the forecheck, it's going to take a toll on a guy like that. So I think getting him a full offseason this summer, which he will get because Detroit's not going to the playoffs, it should be interesting to see how he comes out next year in October, and if he can pick his game up from the Sundqvist we know he can be.
He takes such a beating out there, though. Even
I he's a warrior.
And
that's what deride that.
No, and actually, I mean that's the one of the reasons why he's such a fan favorite, because he just busts his ass out there and takes a beating, and he just keeps coming. And I get it. I mean, nobody likes to see a player that they enjoy watching play leave, right? But part of me is just like, I roll my eyes when I see people like, crying on social media, and just like, no, I love him so much. And it's like, come on. This is sports, man. This is the way it goes.
I hated seeing him go, but
I did too.
For me,
I like the guy.
For me, the thing, and it's funny, Kurt, you mentioned the second round pick. When you first tweeted, like, oh yeah, I actually like this deal because the Blues get the second round pick.
Yes.
Like, wait a minute, they're sending the second round pick. And that was what it was for me. When I saw that it was Sundqvist and Wallman for Witkowski and Leddy, at first I thought, okay. And then I saw the second round pick and I thought, God damn it, another draft pick. And that was what kind of put it over the edge for me, that at the end of the day, I think Detroit wins this deal. This is the Blues filling a need. And like Bill said, at the time, this is the best defenseman available.
And here's the thing, too, is that all of the players that are being acquired, these coveted defensemen, everyone's overpaying. I mean, they're getting a ton for these players. And if the Blues wanted somebody to step in and help this defense, they had to overpay. And they did a little bit. So I think that's what they had to do. And nobody wants to overpay. But if you wanted to help this defense, and Leddy will help the defense, just not in the way that people were expecting to get defensive help, a different style player. You had to overpay, and it's just the way it is. You can't have both. You can't always get you're going to help the team, but you give up more. It's just it's a give and take thing.
Right. When we got to that point in the deadline, it actually, like, it was my last day of recovery from the flu, so yay, I got to watch NHL Network without work interrupting me because I was still recovering. And I'm like, you know what? I can't wait anymore. I need to take a shower. And of course, that's when the trade happened. But as I'm getting in the shower, I'm thinking, I'm probably going to come out and it's going to be a third round pick for Michael Delzato, and that's going to be the end of it. And so,
or Dylan.
Get
Dylan.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually would have been happier with that, and even if it was the second round pick
depending who
Dylan,
you give up. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, when I was at that point, I was like, Delzato, he's a unknown commodity. He's not going to do a whole lot, maybe play a couple games. But I was convinced we weren't going to do anything. So when I got out, and I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. I like Leddy. And I'll say, always had an affinity for Jake Wallman, Providence College guy, great, such a strong skater. And if he could learn to hit the net with that shot, man, and that's what I'm hoping, that he gets the opportunity now in Detroit. And that was the other thing from watching the game last night and hearing Armstrong tell the story about having to pull Kyrou aside because he and Wallman were best buds, and I'm telling him, trying to break it down to him in terms to help Kyrou, cope with losing a good friend for the first time. And he said, put it out there. He's got an opportunity now that he did not have with us, and he is going to play in their top four. So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
great for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I loved that they brought up. I love when they bring Army on after the trade deadline, and you get that, you get so much, and starting to hear like the human side stories coming out of Army that making me like him a little bit more.
I everybody was expecting the Blues to, hopefully, this is what we said this, to get that big stay-at-home guy to clear the front, to make people pay to go to the net, because we had transition guys already, right? So that was the style the defense was playing. And so we thought, okay, well, and it made sense, to want to fill a hole where we could punish guys in front and take away some of those high danger scoring chances. But and that didn't happen. We didn't get that guy. Leddy's not that guy. He's actually a poor guy at that. But
Right.
what he excels at is puck. I mean, he's top 5 in the league. If you dig deep into advanced stats as far as puck retrieval on dump ins and then transitioning out and up and out of the zone, he's top 5 in the league. So,
Right.
And
there are a lot of positives to bringing him on board.
To step in real quick, Kurt, on that point, is that not something that we see the Blues struggle with constantly? They get the punk dumped in on them, and then they just try to whip it around the boards. And there's, they like that play where they put it along the boards forward. One of the wingers takes it and then pokes it out to center, and the center starts gliding in. They love that play, and it's a great play when it works. But there's a lot of times it doesn't work.
Right, and that is a known commodity with the Blues, and other teams have started poaching, and that's why Jordan Kyrou has gotten pretty close to defensive zone turnover lead in the league.
Yeah,
he's just been poached because of that play, and
that
evidence in the game last night. Right,
yeah.
Evidence in the game last night with Leddy, that wasn't there, and that was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and we have, and that's the thing I'm wondering if we'll see with Leddy is the confidence for the other players to be able to do that, because Parayko can do that, Falk can do that, Krug can do that. Like, we just don't see them do it. I think we'll start seeing it with Leddy, and maybe that'll bleed through the rest of the lineup. Hey, we're good at controlling the puck. We just need to have more confidence to carry it out ourselves.
And if you've got the puck, the other team doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And to go back to Kurt's point, everybody wanted the stay-at-home defenseman to clear the front of the net. Who was that guy in this draft or in this trade deadline? The closest you can argue, I think, is Mark Giordano, and that's because he just doesn't have the wheels that he used to have. If you watch the interview that Ben Sherratt, the big rugged defenseman that everybody coveted in Florida, got, his interview on NHL Network or on Sportsnet, whatever they were simulcasting, he talked about how he thought the biggest asset to his game was his skating and jumping up on the rush. So I don't think, getting Sherratt was going to be that guy to clear the front of the net. You got a big guy, but you got a guy who prefers to skate the puck out rather than clear the front of the net. I mean, he's got that. He's got the toughness to his game, but there is no guy like that. Maybe Chara, and again, because he just doesn't have the wheels.
I think Leddy will fit in nicely with the defensive system the Blues have, and he'll be more effective than half of our defensemen at transitioning out. So I like that, and our defense should be better overall as a whole with Leddy in it, than especially if he bumps Scandella as a number 7 guy, right? So they went with 7 defensemen the other night, and Scandella played. So I'm hoping that once they're comfortable and not worried about, well, depends what happens with Krug now. God, fuck, if Krug gets, we'll talk about his injury in a little bit, but if his injury is serious, then there's Scandella's got a regular spot again. But that sucks.
But I'll add with that real quick too. I think that's another reason they got Witkowski. I know he's not like an elite player, but you look at their right-handed depth. They had it was Parayko, Falk, Bortuzzo, and then Santini, and I think Witkowski fits in right before Santini. So They do still. They got another depth guy that I think they could throw in if they need to, and he is a physical player.
Yeah, he is, but I don't. I don't. If it came down to using him or mismatching righty lefty, I'd go
Right.
mismatch righty lefty. I wouldn't worry about the righty.
No, I
lefty
agree.
Thing. Yeah,
but it's there if you need it.
sure.
Right.
But
And-
what the Grind Line podcast? They were asked what they thought of Witkowski, and their very brief critique of him was that he sucks. So there's that.
Right.
Some
The
high
one
level
highlight,
knowledge there.
Right. Well, I mean,
right. The one highlight that that they showed during the trade deadline coverage was a fight. Right. I think it was against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a fighter.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing, what I was hoping, by playoffs, you said you hope that he bumps Scandella to the number 7. I was hoping that would happen by playoffs, and that they would put Mikula in the press box and let him watch and say, "Watch what this guy does, not what you've been doing. Watch what Leddy does." If they got to that point, and that's the damper's been put on that because of the unfortunate injury. Hopefully not too terrible to Krug, but
yeah, we'll get to that. I want to just kind of speak to what Kurt said when he first opened this conversation, what people were expecting. Again, you have to look at what was on the board. The Blues were fans were expecting this clear out defenseman, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there.
Mhm.
Again, we said last week, Kurt and I both said we'd love to see a Mayfield type, but clearly that wasn't there. So the Blues had to do something, and they did. They didn't address the need that a lot of people thought they needed to address. But what they did was they went and got a guy that does help with another need this team has, and that's getting the puck out of the zone. So it wasn't just we need this big, tough defenseman. He's not there, so we're just going to sit on our hands. They said, you know what? We also struggle with getting the puck out of our zone on transition sometime. Who's the best guy available for that? Oh, Nick Leddy. He's one of the best at it. Let's go get that guy. And so I think they still did find a need, and they filled that role.
You don't have to clear the puck out if the puck's not there, or clear the front of the net if the puck's not there.
It'll be interesting to see how, if the Blues struggle with teams setting up in the zone. Say they make the playoffs and say they get past Minnesota, who they are likely to play, probably, maybe, but and then they play Colorado in the second round. So against Colorado, that's where I was thinking. My need for in front of the net was going to come into play, to more so than, against Minnesota necessarily. I think against Colorado, their high-powered offense, that's where I was thinking that was going to help in that matchup. But we'll see. Like we just said, that if we can transition out of the zone a few more times than we would before, then that's less opportunities the other team has to even set up to have that need, then to have a defenseman clear the front. So a lot of people did like Wallman. I liked Wallman. I know he was a fun guy to watch. Pinched in the zone a lot. Was good, a great skater. Real good with the puck. Didn't put up quite as much points as you might have hoped, but he's still pretty young. He's only played in 50 some odd games in the NHL.
Right, he's only 26.
Yeah, and he only 33 games played this year, and he wasn't in the third pair when he'd play. So that is one of the things I was thinking of when I analyzed this trade in more depth. That so we got rid of Sundqvist, who was hurt, wasn't near as effective as he was when he was healthy, and wasn't going to be healthy this year. Wallman, a guy who wasn't playing but half the time, and has only played one playoff game in his career. So those are the two players we gave up. So I'm trying to rationalize and understand the trade from Armstrong's point of view, and then looking at the return we get from Leddy. And people focused on his minus 33 in Detroit and just assumed he sucked, and it was just it's absurd. To use plus minus to analyze anybody that way is just, I don't know. People are just looking at box scores. They're not watching Detroit play. Nobody outside Detroit's watching Detroit play.
I love my father-in-law, don't get me wrong, and he is becoming a hockey fan because of me. He's always been a big baseball guy, but that was the first thing he texted me. He said, "I'm a little concerned about that minus 33." And I'm just like, "Oh, not you, Mike. Come on, no."
Yeah, no. If you've watched the last two Eastern Conference Finals, right, the Leddy was a solid contributor to that really deep Isles defense. And I was shocked this summer when I saw that he signed in Detroit, but it it was a place where he was guaranteed to play a lot. So that
he
the
And they
fact that
offered
we got
big
him,
money, too.
right, and we only have him. It was only a 1-year contract, right? We're not on the hook anything after
Nope.
this year. So
Leddy did say that the Blues defensive style, the system they play for defense, is very similar, a lot more like the system they played for the Islanders than in Detroit. So, Leddy played well with the Islanders. So that I mean, these are all things, all positives. You can put positive spins on this trade. You can put negative spins on it too. I mean, there's some negatives that that are certainly viable, but I think
The
the
analytics
positives
are not pretty. They're not
No.
pretty for Leddy this season.
But there's so much.
Right.
I mean, it's so
And
hard.
he has been trending down too.
It's
But
so hard
as you do as you age.
yeah,
as you age, and on a bad team, I think it's so hard to analyze, even with advanced stats, a defenseman on a bad team with goaltending that's weak. I just, you know what I mean? It's just so hard. So again, time will tell with this trade. That's why I wasn't initially. I didn't like the trade. I tweeted out about it, but then I kind of circled back a little bit and collected myself and was a little more rational, I guess, with it. So, and I think I said that time will tell with this as far as how it worked out, how well it worked out for us.
Right.
yep. And if the Blues go out and let's just say they win the cup this year, they won the trade, right? Who cares?
Oh,
Right.
sure.
Right. And at the end of the day too, like something that I think was kind of overlooked by a lot of fans was we talked about a little bit about Sundqvist, how much money he was making. Let's just say they don't re-sign Leddy, they just freed up over $2 million in cap space, and that's huge for a team that is playing right to the cap.
I think if the Blues take Colorado to 7 games in the second round, they win the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's better than most people are expecting them to do, since Colorado is the looming team in round 2.
Yeah, so now seems like a good time to talk about what the other teams in the Central did.
Yeah,
because I will tell you. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, before we do that, because I think we've done this with every other Stanley Cup champion that's left the Blues. Sorry, Jake Wallman, we're not going to mention you here. To Oscar Sundqvist.
Cheers, Sonny.
Cheers.
Stanley Cup champion forever, baby.
That's right. Forever a part of that 2019 team.
That's right. He will always be a hero here. Like Kurt said on social media, he never has to pay for a beer in St. Louis.
Oh, he should never have to pay for beer. And you know what? We'll go ahead.
Right.
We'll go ahead. And on that note, as a nice little transition, we'll take our Center Ice Brewery break, and we'll talk about the rest of the trades, or some other trades in the Central, after this word from Center Ice Brewery. Do you like hockey? No, of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Well, let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Center Ice Brewery. That's right, Center Ice Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues. So just a couple other trades in the Central that we'll kind of focus on. Colorado made some moves. Minnesota made some moves. Quite interesting move in goal. So the Avalanche acquired forward Andrew Cogliano from the Sharks in exchange for a 5th round pick in the 2024 draft.
So, just quick note on Cogliano. He's one of those guys. If for any of you who play men's league, he's one of those guys that you hate to play against because he does not give up on plays. We'll talk about Nathan Walker here in a minute. Something he did last night that made me fall in love with him all over again. But he will keep going. He will, like, if you skate past him, and sometimes you see guys taper off and like, oh, it's time for a line change anyway. He doesn't do that. So he's one of those guys that yes, it's a very minor pickup for Colorado, but he makes their 3rd and 4th line that much more difficult to play against.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'll tell you the one thing that Andrew Cogliano doesn't do, and that's score on a wide open goal. In
I was going to
7
say that
in 2019.
Oh my God!
When I saw, I knew he was out there and available, and I thought that was the one position the Blues could contribute to. And when I saw that he went to Colorado, I'm like, kind of seems a little bit redundant, but I don't know, maybe Colorado's just doubling down to make sure that they've got, they somehow Colorado has cap space and can bring in a bunch of people.
Right.
But don't they still have Belmar, right? Don't they still have players like that on this team?
They moved Jost. So, Jost was that type
right.
of player.
First,
he got moved
Jost
for a bigger body.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
so I guess that maybe he fills that role.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like I said, I thought the Blues needed to make a 4th line center depth move, but the one thing, every trade deadline show we get to work this phrase in, and I'm gonna get to work it in this time.
No.
Tyler Bozak is out right now, and when he comes back, it's gonna be like making a trade.
Making a trade.
And Vladimir Tarasenko and Robert Thomas.
So
what'll that be like when they come back?
Like getting guys back from injured reserve.
So
oh, damn it, Bill.
Colorado
I wanted to be your hype man again.
Colorado also acquired forward from Montreal, Bill, Lekkinen.
Yeah, this was actually the trade that pissed me off. Lekkinen was the guy that I really wanted the Blues to get.
And this is the reason why a lot of people are calling Colorado winners at the trade deadline, because they picked him up. He'll be a nice addition for them. So and like you said, Bill, I was like, God, they have cap space for this shit.
Yeah,
I know.
How is that? They're just loaded up.
Yeah.
I'm just like the Blues are in a different way.
Yeah,
but they are loaded, and it's like, how the hell do they have room to do this?
And lose and give up 2 goals in quick succession to
Vancouver. Yeah, is now up 2-0. Vancouver.
Yeah, they and there was talks that they might have been in on Fleury. I'm like, how could they make that work?
Yeah,
they have to dump salary for that, or have Chicago retain a lot.
Yeah, they'd have to retain. Well, I think you can only retain up to 50%, so they'd still have to move somebody.
Minnesota, which did acquire Fleury from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for a conditional 1st round pick in this year's draft. So,
so they got more than Vegas did for Fleury.
That's interesting, and they got a goalie. So,
what happens that night, right? They go out, they get Marc-Andre Fleury. He shows up. You see him in the gear at practice.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing that night because he played the night before. Cam Talbot goes out and pitches a shutout.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Let me just put a quick pause on it for goalie gear comment, but it's amazing like how seamless Fleury's gear fit into the Minnesota color scheme. Chicago's primary black.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks great.
Minnesota's primary green. It looks so good.
Yeah.
Once he gets a new helmet, and maybe they'll put some of those wraps. Did you see that with San Jose when they got Kakkonen from Minnesota? they had his mask wrapped that night in Sharks decals.
Oh, I
It
didn't
was
see that.
pretty awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was pretty sweet.
That's quick.
Loved it.
That shit is so light. Have you ever had that kind of wrap on your helmet before, Bill?
Nope. Nope.
You can't even notice it. You would think there'd be a weight difference, but there's not. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Brandon Capone in the YouTube chat says, well, that center ice ad just made me sad. It's like, well, don't be sad. I mean, you can still buy the beer. You just can't.
One, they're coming back.
They're coming back.
And
Just
two, you can get their beer anywhere. Brandy, what area of St. Louis do you live in? I can tell you where to go get their beer.
She's on the east side, I think.
Right.
She's on your side?
County or,
She's on the east side.
yeah, Madison County or somewhere
Okay.
in mine and Kurt's neck of the woods.
So
Okay,
it's
well then
south. It's
come
south.
out,
It's St.
come
Clair.
out,
It's St. Clair.
come out to the Missouri side, and I can tell you where you can get their beer. It's unfortunate. I might have to start yelling at the center ice guys to, hey, get your shit in Illinois. What's going on here?
I know. There's Schnucks over here too.
Yeah.
Or there, and there's a Friar Tuck's over here too.
It's at
Total
Deerberg's
Wines.
out here. It's
Randall's.
at Total Wine. It's at Randall's. It's at
There's a
Friar
Randall's
Tuck
in,
out
there's a
here
Randall's
in
in
St.
Fairview.
Louis.
Randall's in Fairview is a Friar Tuck in Edwardsville. There's
I wonder if there's just a
Total Wine
weird
in
like
Fairview?
distribution
Right. No, it's
law
state
or
by state.
something.
Right.
Yeah, state by
It
state.
is very state by state. Like Founders, or not Founders, Surly. Like you used to not be able to get Surly in Missouri. And now you can get it pretty much anywhere, both sides of the river, but used to only be able to get it in Edwardsville. And my buddy from Minnesota lived in St. Charles, couldn't get it. So.
Brandy says she lives on the Illinois side. She knows where to get it, but she misses being able to go there. So
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It sucks that place was open during the pandemic, because before the pandemic, one of the last nights that I went out was to center ice before the pandemic hit. And we saw, I remember the Battlehawks played until 6, and then the Blues game started at 6:30. And so we literally watched the Battlehawks game, then watched the Blues game, hung out at center ice all day, and it was a blast. And it was just, man, I want that back. Hopefully we'll get that back eventually.
she says that she's pretty sure she's seen center ice beer at Total Wine in Fairview Heights.
Oh. Well, there you
So-
go.
I was just in there the other night and didn't even look. Well,
Matt Harris says, mark my words, I will road trip back out to STL when center ice reopens.
Yep.
I don't know where they're going to reopen, but it will be somewhere. There's a good chance, I would think, they're going to be looking in West County. But, man, if you're listening, center
West
ice,
County.
come out here to South County, baby. Much cheaper, and you got plenty of beer heads out here.
I think they'd want to stay as close to Enterprise as they could.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean,
I don't know if they'll do city again.
to run the shuttle and stuff. I mean,
I don't know.
they were saying the shuttle was a nice little chunk of business there for the, the people coming in.
yeah,
but
like we
are you
talked
better
about
off going to the
rent.
county and
Right.
you're better off going to one of the counties and not having to pay the high rent.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So sad. Today was my first day back in the office, which was 2 blocks from where they were.
Mm.
And
Yep.
knowing I can't go there anymore.
Well, and it's so close to the soccer stadium. So every time I like even think about soccer, I'm like, God, I had so many thoughts about I'll go pregame at center ice and then literally walk to the soccer stadium.
If you can get tickets,
That's just not going to happen.
There's
Yeah,
a
right.
big time wait list for tickets.
Yep.
So we'll see. I was planning on going to a few games, but man, it's gonna be tough to get tickets. I'm sure you can get them secondary market, but still. Nashville. Some folks were rating them as losers in this trade deadline. It's funny because one of the sites was a Sports Center or TSN rated the biggest winners and the biggest losers in the trade deadline, and I think if you'd ask Blues fans that were pissed off at the Leddy trade, they would say the Blues are losers in this trade, but they didn't list the Blues as either. So they had him somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just them. I saw a couple different sites that had winners and losers. You know, they do that everywhere for trade deadline. I don't think I saw the Blues anywhere.
Yeah, no, they were in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
I saw somebody that had them. I think the Athletic had them as losers.
really?
Yeah.
Nashville.
That's interesting.
I don't know why you'd label them as losers. I look at them and I say they just made a couple depth moves.
I think in that they didn't address what they needed to address. So
what do they need to address?
I don't know. I glazed over it. I glazed over
They
it.
still have the big question mark over Philip Forsberg and his contract.
That was one of the things they did mention. I did read that.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's.
Are you gonna? I think they're doing their best to try and re-sign him.
Well, they said that they don't. Well, they don't seem to think they will, and they were expecting them to move him. So,
like our friend of the show, Jeremy Gover, said of Nashville media, he thinks that they sent that out to Andy Strickland, hoping like he would get that out and they could see what they'd get for him, but they're really not planning on moving him. And I see that being the case.
Maybe. I mean, you never know. And you know, the Central had a bunch of trades. They were involved in a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 19. 19 of the 33 involved Central Division teams.
Are you including the Blues too?
No, 20.
So 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I think I wanted to talk a little bit about the Vegas Knights trade fiasco. We had a request earlier today to discuss this too, which I think is fascinating and hilarious.
Yes. Yes.
Because this is something you don't see. So
in any sport.
No, yeah. Well, and the NHL has a hard cap too. You cannot go over. You
right.
There's no like minor penalty like a fine for going over or whatever. You'll forfeit games if you're over the cap.
Yeah.
You can't play.
Right.
So seconds before Monday's trade deadline, the Ducks announced the acquisition of now, how do you pronounce his name? Dadonov? Because Darren Dreger said that he says Dadonov, but he was told that it's Dadonov.
Yeah.
So
let me
tomato.
Let me be a douchebag and use my media credentials, and I'll be able to tell you.
Anyway, the Ducks had acquired Dadonov and a second-round pick from the Golden Knights in exchange for defenseman John Moore and Ryan Kessler's contract. Which when I heard Kessler's name, I'm like, what? Kessler hasn't played in NHL for a few years and is on LTIR due to a bad hip, and his NHL career is basically over. So I think his last time he played was 19. So this was a salary dump made to circumvent the cap, as Kessler's contract wouldn't have counted against Vegas's cap. So the league, however, said later Monday it was investigating further due to an issue with Dadonov's no-trade list. TSN Hockey Insider Darren Dreger reported on Monday that neither team involved in the deal was aware that Anaheim was on Dadonov's no list. The 33-year-old forward who was traded to Vegas from the Ottawa Senators last summer holds a 10-team no-trade clause in his contract. Dreger added that the no-trade list wasn't presented in the original trade sending Dadonov to Vegas, even though the paperwork was filed on time. Dadonov's no-trade clause.
Real quick. So I just checked the NHL media site because they have player pronunciations.
Yeah.
The first time I clicked it, I think the system screwed up and it goes Ben Hutton. And I'm like, that definitely isn't right.
That's not right.
That's why I laughed. But he says Dadonov. So
Dadonov. Yeah.
I go by the media site, but unless Dreger has talked to Dadonov personally,
he said he was told by people. I don't know. He didn't. Yeah. I don't think he gave details.
Well, this is going to be the thing he's most famous for. So
Dadonov holds a 10-team no-trade clause in his contract. Dreger added that the no-trade wasn't. This was. I just said that. So his no-trade clause was viewable, plain as day, on Cap Friendly, but the NHL didn't catch it. The Knights didn't catch it. Dreger came out today and said that insiders or sources within the league have apparently placed the blame solely on Ottawa's shoulders in all of this.
Because they didn't provide it to Vegas when the trade was made.
Right, even though the paperwork was filed, I somehow wasn't presented to Vegas, and
Yeah,
Vegas was given the impression that it wasn't filed in time, and it was no longer valid.
I get that to a certain extent. That okay, so when you trade a player, what do you have on him? Send it our way, fax it, email it, whatever. I get that. That is just doing your due diligence as the Ottawa Senators. But as the Vegas Golden Knights, speaking of due diligence, how about you check with the player, you check with his agent, and you say, hey, is there anything that Ottawa's not telling us?
Yeah.
Like, what can you tell us about your contract?
They check with the league.
Send us a copy of your contract.
They checked with the NHL, and the NHL said that it was correct. The NHL missed it too. So the NHL and the
Golden
Knights said that it was fine.
I would love to see a statement back, and they won't do it because they don't want to get in trouble with the NHL. I'd love to see a statement back from the Senators that just says, "Nuh-uh."
So anyway, the NHL announced today that it has voided Monday's trade between the Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights. So that, and I quote, the trade could not be concluded because Dadonov's contract includes a limited no trade clause, which has not been complied with. So there are some major cap issues now for Vegas. They've got to clear some salary because they've got Stone and Martinez coming off LTIR pretty soon, which is why they were trying to clear salary. And if they can't, they're going to have to. They can trade. They can still make trades, but any players involved in the trades can't play the rest of the season or play in the playoffs. They can waive players, but that doesn't guarantee anyone's going to take them. They can buy out contracts if they want, but that's expensive.
They can't do that right now, though, can they?
They can buy out yeah, I think so.
I thought it was just during the buyout period.
Maybe you're right about the buyouts. Maybe you're right, but they can still make trades.
No, they can.
Yeah, but they just.
But I mean, how shitty is that? That like, let's just say Arizona is on Dadonov's list, and so they trade him to Arizona. Well, guess what? You can't play this season. You can't play the remainder of this season with your team. Like, we're still going to pay you, but you're not going to be able to play. Like that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Now they're going to have other players. Now this is what I think they're going to do. They have players like Pacioretty, Smith, and McNabb, and Lehner, who they say are probably candidates for LTIR. So that will free up some salary for them. I don't know if it'll be enough. I guess it will be. Because they got to free like $13 million to bring Stone, $14 million to bring Stone and Martinez back. So it's going to be interesting. And they're going to try and, I mean, this is all, it's on one hand, you feel bad for Vegas because they were told one thing and they thought they had a trade in place and what they were told was wrong. And the league fucked up. Teams fucked up, and Vegas is left holding the bag. On the other hand, I don't feel bad for Vegas because this is a total effort to just big time circumvent the cap, what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah.
And to tack on extra salary and bring guys back for the playoffs that, to go over the cap like Tampa Bay did. So on that, in that respect, I don't feel sorry. I laugh. It's hilarious because this is blown up in their face.
Kurt, I'm really disappointed we haven't heard the great quote from you yet.
Vegas, but I don't think that applies to Vegas. Vegas didn't do anything wrong here. I mean, aside from
we're talking about the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Right.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. I thought you were gonna say Vegas looks like a monkey fucking a football.
well, kind of that too, actually. But
I was like, I don't blame Vegas for this. I'm just laughing because it didn't work for them.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
mean they're
do you think
doing what Tampa has done, what Chicago
They
did.
tried to.
We're seeing them trying to do the same thing,
but
they're getting called on it this time.
and they treat players like shit.
Yeah, they
They
do.
just I know it's a business, but man, they treat them like meat.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right. The turnover that
Yeah.
franchise has had
yeah.
and for the pursuit of the cup, and they've regressed further and further away,
Uh-huh.
in danger of not even making the playoffs right now.
It's too much tinkering.
It's
Way too much.
yeah.
They
Way
go after they're
way
they're the Maple Leafs of America.
yeah.
And it I mean, and you wonder what's going through Petrangelo's mind too, because he chose to go there with a fantastic contract, and Vegas is kind of, I mean, if Petrangelo, if his career, kind of the rest of his career mimics what he's done this season, that's a shitty contract for Vegas. So I think he could easily rebound. I think he's a better defenseman than he's played this year, but he's 30, going to be 33, I think, and so how many 33-year-olds improve their play? We'll see. That's eight.
Okay, so I'm looking at their original roster right now, and if I'm doing this correctly, so let me ask you guys, from that first roster, 2017, 2018, how many players are left from that original roster?
4. I don't know. Total guess.
What's your guess?
The original roster?
Mhm.
Um
Which really was not that long ago.
No, 5 years.
1?
Yeah, 5 years. It's so Kurt Price, hate to say it, you are correct.
4.
Can you name
Wow.
them?
No, it was a guess. Let's see.
William Carrier, Jonathan Marchessault,
Marchessault, yeah.
William Karlsson,
yeah.
and Zach Whitecloud is what I have.
Okay, I wouldn't have got him. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't really play that first year, so. But Marchessault was the only one that I could think of.
Yeah.
Whitecloud played 1 game, so yeah.
Technicality.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy, man. I what's funny is, well, and like everybody's talking about like how funny it is to see Vegas doing this, and and I hate the people, and this is another take in sports that I hate is, well, you're making millions of dollars, so I don't feel sorry for you. Like, Dadonov did nothing wrong in this situation. He accepted a trade to Vegas. His Vegas was on his list. He goes to Vegas. They try trading him to a team he didn't want to go to, and then they're like, he calls foul on it. Hey, what the hell? I said I wasn't going to be traded to Anaheim. No. We traded you to Anaheim. No, I've got a team, a list that says I can't be traded to certain teams. No, you don't. Like that is a really shitty situation for a guy to be put in, and basically for his options to be, well, I don't even want to say options. You know what I mean? In terms of like what's going to happen.
Right.
You're either going to go to a team that you literally said publicly you don't want to go to, or you're going to go back to a team who doesn't feel you're an asset. So you're just going to fucking go back there and expect to play and act like nothing happened. I mean, that sucks.
And didn't Vegas trade a 2nd round pick for him, and we're just trying to get a 3rd round pick? Like they were definitely selling the wrong side of the market for him. But
they were up against it. They had to. I mean,
right. It was a cap dump.
Yeah, and acquiring Kessler's contract.
I saw that, and I'm like, oh my god, he's still on contract.
He's making like almost $7 million per too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on his AR.
He may be my most hated player of the last 15 years.
Wow.
Patty says in the YouTube chat, glad Army didn't give in to Petro. And I think we're all in agreement. He's having a rough year.
Yeah, and I wonder how Blues fans would vote right now. I wonder how many of them have actually paid attention to how he's played this year, and I wonder if they would say, if you could go back and if you could sign Petro, would you, for the 8 year, give him what he wanted and to have him stay, where he couldn't, buyout proof contract.
No.
Yeah, I wonder what the vote would be. We should put that vote up on Twitter.
Yeah.
To see
Maybe tomorrow.
If do it tomorrow. See if what Blues fans are, what their take is on Petro, because I know. I mean, players can play different. They might play better in St. Louis, different system, different teammates, different whatever. Players, Nick Leddy.
No,
so
that's what I'm saying is,
yeah,
the bad stats we see with Leddy, you're hoping
right.
because
Yeah.
he's with a different roster, things change.
Yeah, and you wonder what moves we would have made at the deadline, or what needs would have had if we'd still have Petro. Where would that need be then?
Mm.
So, and if we could even make a move, with his contract and everything, I don't know. It'd be. I'm curious, and I'd have to think about how it would. I'd probably say no, even though I wanted him to resign.
No. I say no.
I mean, I think it winds up meaning that Tarasenko's probably already gone. I think there would have had to have been other moves made by now.
Well, they wouldn't have signed Krug.
Right.
We can
they
just
wouldn't have signed Krug. They wouldn't have probably been able to get Buchnevich either.
Get who?
Right.
Buchnevich.
Yeah.
Steve. They would have
Steve.
Steve
Buchnevich. That's a good point. So, and he's been a big part of this team. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot can be said about, and a lot. We'll see how it plays out with Leddy. Like I said before, it's how it goes the rest of the way. We'll have a big say in it too. The Blues did play last night, Tuesday night in Washington.
Oh yeah, we actually are still playing hockey games.
Yeah. The Blues won this one 5-2, ended a 3-game winless streak, 2 of which were in overtime. Husso got the start, has started 5 of the last 6 games. Only start for Binnington in that time was versus Winnipeg in the second game of back-to-back, which is an overtime loss.
Your thoughts
on
this game? Husso gets the start.
I was fine with it. I mean, I think right now, and we'll talk about goaltending more after we talk about this game. But I mean, it's Husso's net mostly. I think so far. I mean, I think there might be a quick leash with this, a short leash. I mean, but if he has a bad game, I think right back to Binnington, and if he plays well, maybe stick with him a couple times.
I disagree with that because I think the bad game was against Columbus. I didn't think he had a great game against Columbus. I was expecting him to go to Binnington in last night's game. So, I think it tells a lot, right? They're willing to give him a second chance when they won't for Binnington. So
right,
it's Husso going into the playoffs.
That's kind of what I was saying. It's Husso's net right now for the most part, I think.
And that's kind of what bothered me to a certain extent is and again, I'm not anti Husso. If that's your guy, go with him. That's fine. But I've kind of read this as a split kind of thing lately. And you get a loss against Pittsburgh, which he played fine against Pittsburgh, overtime loss. And then, like Bill said, I don't think he had a strong game against Columbus. I thought he could play a little better. Only 27 shots against, and he gave up 4 goals, 5 goals, right?
Yep.
And so I thought that it's a no-brainer. You go back to Binnington here. When they announced Husso as the starter, literally first time of the season, I was shocked that they announced Husso as the starter.
I mean, like I said, I think it's Husso's net for the time being. So I understand sticking with him, and I think this next game is Binnington's. I think Binnington starts against Philly on Thursday night. I think that's when he can start, because then you go back with Husso on Saturday against Carolina. I think you get Binnington a game because Husso started 5 of the last 6. So I think if you want to get Binnington in there, I think Philly is the perfect game to get him in there for, because Philly is not a good team.
Yeah.
That and he's got
I think
great numbers against
And
Philly.
he beat him earlier this season. Stopped 25-26. So
right, and I think that goes back to it's more telling that they've got it scripted out the rest of the season who's getting what start, and every game we play against the Flyers, and Colorado is going to lose tonight, boys.
Yeah.
yes.
But
Nice.
to the Canucks. So, but I think they've already got it scripted out who's going to start what games, and it's going to be Binnington every time against Philly. So I think that was a no brainer for that one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there. I thought there may have been a little bit of fatigue kicking in for Husso during the Columbus game. That was the only thing I could think why it was not as strong a start as we've seen. So I think that's one thing to keep an eye on. But I think he's our guy for the playoffs this year.
I think there's almost 20 games left, right? So I think a lot of things can happen yet, but I think if things trend where they're trending, I think that's a good possibility. Nathan Walker was called up and in the lineup on the fourth line for this game and scored a goal again. The guy just he's in the middle of stuff when he's here. He produces. And I think I'd like to see him stay. And I mean,
I do too.
I put him on the fourth line. He's an
The
energy
first
guy.
thing I saw when I saw Sundqvist moved, and the first thought I thought, okay, who are you putting there? My first thought was Nathan Walker. The dude has earned his shot.
I think. Well, I like Toropchenko. I think he's gonna be given Sundqvist his role.
And damn, his game last night was fucking amazing. Like he was all over the place, throwing his body around and getting to the hard areas and making strong plays. I absolutely. So the three guys that I loved watching last night: Toropchenko, Nathan Walker, and Nick Leddy. And let me say this. Let me say this about Nick Leddy. I was definitely a lot of times this year I have worked through the first couple of periods and then finally sat down and to watch the third period. I made a point to watch the first two and then did whatever work I needed to do in the third, whatever. But I sat down because I wanted to see how Leddy played on this team. And I just, after the first 2-3 shifts and he kind of, was in there, it's like, okay, this guy, every touch was a competent puck play, right? He didn't throw it away, right? Like we've seen Mikkola do, like we've seen Scandella do. He got the puck, he made a play, and he just built on that the rest of the night, and I loved it. I thought it was like, if this is what this guy's going to bring in, night out, and I think Ken pointed out that Parayko had a really strong game last night. It's because of the calming influence of having a good partner who's competent with a puck.
You mentioned Mikkola. He had a giveaway last night, a misplay along the near boards in the offensive zone, and they darted up the ice 2-on-1. Yeah.
Right, and then he took the wrong guy on the back check.
That was
No, he forced. I thought that he forced Bortuzzo by trying to cut across, and what he needed to do was just take that straight line and cut that angle.
I don't think he was catching either one though. Cause he was. I mean, to be honest, Mikkola was closer to Wilson. I mean, even though he had to cut at an angle, Wilson was trailing a little bit. I think. I don't care what Bortuzzo thought Mikkola was doing. If Mikkola was behind the play trying to catch up, and we've talked about this before, and how the defenseman taking the pass and letting the goalie have the shooter is almost a thing of the past anymore. It doesn't happen as much. The defensemen go down to try and take both. They take the Bortuzzo went right to
center lane.
Bortuzzo went right to the puck carrier. I mean, attacked him and leaving Wilson wide open. And Mikkola wasn't getting back for that. And
and I think the route that Mikkola took, and I thought that play showed that there's not a lot of good chemistry between those two right now. So hopefully they'll get that worked out. but I don't know. Maybe Nick Leddy's our number 2 defenseman right now with Krug out.
You know what's funny? Speaking of that, if Leddy is the number 2 defenseman, so and it's funny because people were so upset. We traded a fourth liner who was hurt and a defenseman who plays half the games, and a second round pick for a guy that's going to play in our top 4 defense. So it's such a St. Louis thing to do, to be up in arms over trading, a fourth line guy. As much as I liked him too, but let's be realistic. He's a fourth line player, and Walker and Wallman was a guy who was only playing half the time. So I mean, as far as what we gave up off the roster, now they'll play. I mean, I'm sure Wallman will probably play more in Detroit, but it wasn't playing.
Right. He's going to be a top 4 guy in Detroit with Leddy out of there.
Yeah, and so that's what I mean. It's kind of funny when you sit back and you actually calm down and think about it. It's like, okay, what do we give up? We give a fourth liner and a guy who plays half the time on defense for a guy we're going to plug in the top 4 and D. It's
and again, that's why, and I think Bill will agree, that's why the second rounder was the thing that makes me say, ugh.
Still, even then,
the rest of it I was fine with.
Even then, see, but if you don't list names,
you had to pay the price.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I mean, you had to pay to get somebody. But if you didn't list the names, you just said we're going to give you a fourth liner and a defenseman who is a healthy scratch every other night for a top 4 defenseman, and a second round pick for a top 4 defenseman. You think, oh, that seems fair, or maybe we got the better in the deal. But it's just, I think it's a very St. Louis thing to latch on to the fourth liners, not the muck.
But to defend some people, it is that Sundqvist is more than just your typical fourth line grinder.
Right. I thought it was good.
Literally play on your first line if you needed to.
No, not first line.
He did. He was competent. He was healthy.
During the cup run, he scored some very key goals.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't valuable.
He's not that guy anymore.
I'm not saying he wasn't valuable. He was when he's healthy, he's a very good fourth liner. Very good. But he's still a fourth line player. And if you want to plug him in on different lines every now and then, I think maybe you can, but he's not that guy though.
Right. Like I said earlier, to me, he was a guy that needed to be off this roster. Whether, I think I tweeted the game before, make a trade, bring in another fourth line guy and bury him on LTIR because I didn't think you were trading him.
Yeah.
But
he got healthier when he sat for a little while. They said the rest helped him get back in the lineup, and he was healthier than he had been in a while. But he still wasn't healthy, and he wasn't going to be healthy until the off season. Health, as 100%. So anyway, back to this game. I'm not sure we're going to go into too much detail on this. We Perron, Blues won 5-2. Perron got empty net goal for his 7-game goal streak extended. So he's now has the 4th longest goal scoring streak in Blues history at 7 games. He trails Wayne Babich, who had an 8-game streak in 80-81, and Brett Hull had 2 streaks longer than that. He had 2 10-game streaks, one in 90-91 and one in 91-92. So we talked about this a little bit before about how earlier in the season when Perron was not producing as much, he was hurt, out of lineup a little bit, and people were wondering if he was done, and we're calling for him to be traded at the deadline. Get rid of him. He's a shell of him for his former self. And well, here's what a healthy Perron can do. He's scoring goals. So he's been great. It's the small sample size, that we talked about. Look big picture.
Right, and it's funny because I put a tweet out there when the whole Binnington fiasco was going down, and people were like, "Get rid of this guy, he's terrible." I put out there, let's look at a small sample size of David Perron. The dude has been shit for 14 games or something,
Mm-hmm.
and instantly people started attacking. Well, what the hell? He's come back from injury and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's my point. Like you take out a small sample size from a player, that's what you're
Right.
going to get sometimes is, well, it's
Right,
been
'cause-
14 games and he scored 2 points, then we should trade him too, right? And now
Right.
you're looking at it in the opposite end. David Perron is a gangbuster. This dude is fucking electric every night and he's putting up points. Again, it just goes to show, don't get too excited or too low on small sample sizes.
I think it's tied for the team lead in power play goals, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
with Sod.
yeah. And yeah.
And how about Sod's goal last night, huh?
Oh my God.
Like,
Which let's
let's find a sleeping defenseman.
Carlson.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Carlson just watched it.
Yeah.
If you watch the replay, he kind of reaches out for a poke check and then pulls it back and decides not to do anything at all. I'm like, what are you doing? He just like
I think his controller went off.
Yeah, he glitched. He totally glitched.
Oh
He glitched.
yeah, there was some lag going on in his. That was bad. I didn't. I mean, I think somebody, it was a Spit and Chicklets, or somebody said Carlson said nah.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's like Jesus. I mean, he allowed that to happen. He could have disrupted that break in a little bit, but that was weird.
That was awful. But thank God.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a great goal.
I mean, it turns out to be a great goal for Sod. I mean, he's such a hard worker. I love the way he plays the game.
You know what though? Yeah. Most great goals like that, where you're splitting D and breaking around guys, it's half the time it's bad defense. It's just guys not playing it properly. They look like fools. So I mean, it is what it is. Shen had 3 points on the night. Sod had a goal and an assist. Perron had a goal and assist. Husso saved 19 of 21 for a 905 save percentage. Blues outshot the Caps 38 to 21, and were outshot them 23 to 8 after the first period. So the Blues kind of dominated the second and the third. Blues were 1-4 on the power play. Caps were 1-for-2. Blues dominated the faceoff circle 63% to 37. And the Torrey Krug injury, got some comments about that before the show and in the YouTube chat now. Looked like a nothing play. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. It was just a guy has one hand on a stick, just trailing Krug, and kind of just a little uppity slash up on the under the arm. It looked like on the hand or glove, and Krug hands the puck to the defenseman and it goes off, and he's holding, shaking his hand. He knew it.
Yeah, he would not grip. He would not grip with his left hand after that slash.
Yep.
So if we speculate,
I know that feeling.
Yeah,
it's happened to me before where I literally was. Actually, it was that I jammed myself. I was taking a slap shot. Guy came down to try and stick lift me, and I said, I'm just going to bring my stick down anyway. And I jammed my left hand and broke my left hand, and it was just right away. It was okay. I'm done. Time to go to the ER. And like it's such a shitty feeling, but you just it comes to it. Sometimes it's what happens.
There's two things I think that I think it probably could be. Where he just hit him just right on like the wrist bone, where the bone is exposed between the cuff and the elbow pad, because cuffs are shorter nowadays, and it just got in there and hit him just right on the bone, or maybe it got him like straight on the tip of the finger. You know how there's like no padding on the end of the fingers. Maybe it broke a finger. Something like maybe.
Well, and let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of padding in the entire palm,
right?
Because you want to be able to feel the stick and feel the stick touching the puck. So for those who don't know anything about hockey gloves, this is pretty much the top side of your hand here is all exposed. So he could have just been coming in. He gets a little hook right in one spot where there's not any padding at all. It's all just for feel for the stick. And it just got him, and it just broke a bone right there, or sprained something, whatever.
I know Berube said that he hinted that, I don't have his quote in front of me. Did you guys see it? He hinted that it was probably a really good idea that we picked up Leddy.
Yeah.
Because it could be something he might miss some time. So I'm like, well, son of a bitch. At this point, I'm just like, just be here for playoffs. You know, don't be a 6 to 8 week thing.
Yep.
That would suck. Next up for the Blues, tomorrow night versus Philadelphia. It's in St. Louis. It's on ESPN Plus. And then a Saturday matchup versus Carolina. It's also in St. Louis.
That is so Thursday, tomorrow night, as long as Shea's feeling better. That's his first regular season game ever. So
Nice.
Very
we'll be
cool.
going.
Yeah. You took him to a preseason game, right?
Ratings better.
Yeah. We went and saw the Stars in preseason overtime win, and he had a great time. So
Cool.
looking forward to a regular season matchup. Should be fun.
Well, we talked about this earlier. They play Philly. The Blues beat them 4-1 on February 22nd. Binnington was in the net for that one, making 25 of 26 saves. He could very well start tomorrow. I think he does start tomorrow. I put money on him.
He's got to start tomorrow, and
Yeah,
Philly obviously sold off Giroux at the deadline. Didn't really unload. No team really fire wagon this one. So
yeah.
I think it's a game you have to win. You can't have a game off against a non-playoff team at this point. You gotta win this. Definitely think Binnington's got to be the guy to go tomorrow night. And
and you go back with Husso on Saturday against Carolina. It's a much better team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, yeah, I watched the game over the weekend that Carolina played. Oh man, they are such a good team.
Philly is one of the worst teams in the NHL, 20, 32, and 11, and they're 7, 17, and 5 on the road, and they're 4, 5, and 1 in their last 10 games. But speaking of goaltending, so we talked about who has the net now. It's Husso, but recently, Binnington's been the better goalie. He's got better numbers. Husso's last 7 starts, he's 3-2-2, 8.99 save percentage, so under 90. Goals against average of 3.14 and 27 games played for the season. Binnington's last 5 starts, he's 2-2-1 with a 9.29 save percentage and a 2 GAA, and he's at 29 games played for the season. So they're almost at the same amount of games played for the season, almost a 50-50 split. But lately, Binnington's played pretty well, numbers-wise anyway. You got to wonder because Husso's not. I mean, he can't keep putting up he can't maintain this level of play, 900 or under. He can't do that. So I guess he needs to improve his play a little bit.
This is why I was shocked, honestly, by Binnington not getting the start last night, because I thought, yes, Husso's been your better goalie overall for the past little while, but one, Binnington's got the track record to prove that he can get the Blues there, not just Stanley Cup, but I'm just saying down the stretch, he's been a good goalie when the Blues have needed him. So I thought, okay, that means, we're going to have some healthy competition here. Husso's played great lately. Binnington's been the guy the last couple of years. We're going to see Binnington because we've seen a couple losses under Husso lately, and he hasn't been a lights-out goaltender. So that's why I thought, okay, Binnington gets to start in Washington. If he wins, he gets to start against Philadelphia. If he loses, it goes back to Husso. That was my thought. And now I think, like you said, Kurt, Husso's got the number 1, which is kind of shocking to me that it's happened so quickly, because I'd like to see them continue to battle it out and see what happens. Healthy competition.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I thought Husso was good last. Well, I thought the first goal was not a good goal. The one that was he tried to glove it and it kind of went off his glove shoulder and then popped up in the air, went behind him and in. That was kind of he should make that save. Wrist shot from the face-off dot.
Yep.
But second one, 2-on-1. I mean, he slides over. He's got his glove there. He just didn't get it. Tough save, but
yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, that for Wilson, the puck's come across, he's a right-handed shot, but it's almost the same thing as the game-winning goal against the Jets in overtime, right? Binnington, his glove was there, but he didn't lead with it and didn't get the puck.
Yeah. So, this will be interesting because if Binnington keeps trending, I mean, 929 save percentage is fantastic.
Yep.
If he's over 9-2, like over the next few games, I think you've got to go back with him for
until he regresses.
Yeah, it's a you kind of got to play it by ear. I think. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's interesting.
Right. I think what we're seeing is Husso's numbers regressing to the mean a little bit here, and Binnington, if he can, continue to maintain a solid pace, that's what the Blues need here. And this is why we need both these guys, right? It's not and I know Patty in the YouTube chat asked us to talk a little bit about the Binnington trade rumors, and for what it's worth, we're getting close to needing to wrap this up, but for what it's worth, we chat, we have an ongoing Slack chat, and we talked about that, and it's, if the right trade's there, do it, right? You've got, you still do have some risk with this, right? The contract hasn't even kicked in yet. It's going to be 6.5 over 6 years. And if you can unload that, the risk is that you don't re-sign Husso. But if you've got that cap space, you can re-sign Husso. And especially we see that there's another move to be made with Sundqvist leaving, that cap space getting freed up. So you don't bring back Leddy. You've got that. I don't expect you're going to pay Husso more than 6.5 for a couple of years. I think you're going to give him something more in the 4 to 5 range. But
if you go multiple years,
I think we would have all been fine with it. I mean, I don't want to speak for you fellas, but I think we would have been fine had that trade happened. Depending on the return.
I think Husso signs for under 3 in the offseason.
I'm actually with Kurt.
Unless something crazy happens.
I think you get 1 or 2 years, 3 or under.
I think it's like 2 years, 2.75, just based on his lack of experience in the NHL. That's
agree.
mainly it. But we'll see. As far as the Binnington rumors go that existed, that he was supposed to being shopped, if you believe Armstrong, those were not true. I think probably what happened is that people were asking who's available, and people maybe have inquired about Binnington, or someone said, "What do you want for him?" or whatever, and his name may have come up, but he was not. Armstrong said he was not actively being shopped at all. So
it's as simple as a couple guys. Armstrong travels with the team, going for a golf outing with another GM. Hey, what's the deal with your goaltending? What are you looking to do here? Oh, well, we're happy with either guy, blah, blah, blah. That's probably, to me, as far as it went. It was, hey, who are you looking to unload one of them? I don't know. The price is right. Sure. I don't think it went further than that type of conversation.
For any GM, any player, given the right return, is in play.
Yeah.
And the last thing we'll talk about is the Toronto's the Justin Bieber designed jerseys. Justin Bieber and his Drew clothing line company designed the yellow side of these reversible jerseys, and they were in action tonight versus New Jersey. They're targeted at younger folks. Let me see if I can pull one of these up here. And
as you do that, I will comment. Yeah. I love them. Mm-hmm. I think it's we're not the audience here. Me, Bill, and Kurt. We are not the audience. And honestly, even a lot of people listen to this show. The Austin Lynches, the guys that join me on Discord when we go on Discord. That's the audience. The Matt Harrises. There you go. Very nice. They're the audience. But even for that, I love these. I think they're great. I love the idea of it being reversible. I think that just adds an element that fans will love to buy it. I think it's a very classic look. It's clean. There's not too much going on. Kurt, I know you'll have plenty to say about the Toronto Maple Leafs logo they chose, but I think it looks great with the color scheme, the all black. I love it. There's not too much going on, and it's
Do-
again, I think it appeals to the younger crowd.
Do you guys like the jagged leaf, the vintage leaf, or do you like what's your thoughts on that compared to the more the simplified, more logo like leaf from the 60s,
I like
70s,
the
80s?
the leaf that you like, the older leaf. I do like that one better, but I don't mind this one. I think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no, for I like when they have jerseys that use both of them, right? I like variety, and and I guess my thought here is this maybe a glimpse of what we might get with fashion forward celebrity contributions to the reverse retro thing when it comes back. I wouldn't mind that. I think this is a salad.
I like black. I think that's a nice black clean jersey. The blue they wore the Maple Leafs wore their black and blue tonight in the game against New Jersey, and the picture that they show and they advertise online as far as the jersey goes, the blue looks brighter in pictures, but on TV on the ice, it gets washed out by the black, and you can barely see the blue. They almost look like solid black jerseys and pants and socks. So I with seeing them in action on TV, the blue's got to be brighter a little bit, not a ton, but I'd like to be able to tell there's blue there. It's crazy how these don't transfer that well on the TV, because if you're putting like a darker blue on top of a black, it's going to blend more, and it blends on TV quite a bit. So I think if the blue were a little brighter, I think that would work better on TV. Again, like you said, Jeff, I don't like the vintage leaf near as much as the one they had in the 90s and 2000s. It's a cleaner leaf. I like it a lot better. This one's busy, jagged. Vintage is not always better. Sometimes it is. Not for me here, but
I will agree with you. It's funny because I saw these and I saw they were going to wear them tonight, and we were sitting upstairs earlier. Wife's really into the Masked Singer, and so that ends. And the first thing I say is, hey, real quick, I just want to turn on the Leafs Devils game. I got to, not only because I already know what the jerseys look like, but I have to see them on the ice too. And so I will say, when I turned the game on, the first thought was, those look like Lightning jerseys. So that is one knock I will say that I didn't realize I would have when I first just saw the images of them. But yeah, on the ice, I thought, okay, look a little Lightning-esque. But other than that, I'll add real quick, Matt Harris in the chat. With Austin not being here, I'll assign myself the resident youth of the chat. I love the blue side, and I think the yellow is a neat fashion jersey. So yeah, I agree with him actually.
Yeah, the the smiley face thing on the Leaf is weird, but then again, it's not for me, right? So it's for a younger audience, and it's for I guess his it's his line, right? That's his logo, right? The smiley face thing. So yeah, and I don't think they're going to wear that side during a game, but the blue side is worn during a game. So yeah, I like the blue and yellow. I like the look. I'm not sure if I dig on the big leaf outline, but I think the simpler, smaller leaf, made a little bigger, would have been kind of. Again, I'm thinking like traditional hockey jersey for on ice stuff, but the hats are weird to me. In this picture we got up here, the hats are like Blues colors, blue and yellow.
Yeah,
they are.
Right, but
that's his line, right?
That's his brand.
His line.
It's not it's not the Leafs that.
Oh, that's right. It says it's got the leaf there, but it says Drew over the top.
Yeah.
So
that's more his brand.
Yeah. So anyway, I love the simplicity. I love that effort to be simple. They could have went a number of directions with this, and they could have made it look terrible. But all in all, it's pretty good. I think, like I said, the blue needs to be a little brighter just for TV purposes, but not too bad.
Ken Morris asks, when does John Hamm design a jersey for the Note? I don't know if that's going to be happening there, Ken.
It would involve a scarf.
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah,
would,
they'd be
wouldn't
wearing scarves on the
it?
ice.
I should design a John Hamm designed, probably Blues jersey.
Yeah.
Also on the blue jerseys, the blue and black, the Leafs, on the elbows, the stripe in between the stripes, they have the city skyline kind of subtly in the middle field there, which is hard to make out, but apparently it's there. So that's kind of a cool thing. On the socks too, I think it is. They have it. Same thing. Also the leaf is like textured 3D. It's called Shibori inspired print. It's got like shadows on it. Not sure what that means. And on the inside of the collar, it says honor, pride, and courage in next generation typeface and Drew House colors. What's next generation typeface?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
Marketing words is what that means.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I think
Jargon.
it's like New Jersey, sometimes I think when they describe these jerseys, these new designs, like they're really reaching for like symbolism.
Yeah.
I think that does it for this week's show, boys.
Yeah.
Any closing words? We're gonna go.
God bless Jarl Halak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. No, other than I'm looking forward to the stretch run. We're in it now, folks. I know there was a quote. Man, I'm drawing a blank on who it was from. I think it was it Justin Falk who said that, might have been Brandon Saad, that we're in where we have to play our best now. And so this is the time of season where it becomes fun, really fun to just watch games every night, whether the Blues are playing or not.
Yep. I've definitely increased my consumption of the game very much. It helped that I was sick and on the couch, but the bugs biting hard, and I'm gonna watch every night now.
There's a lot of people that are down on this team big time. They like predicting a first round exit and everything. It's kind of, I guess we'll see closer to the playoffs what the team looks like.
The last few games going, before the Washington game, they looked tired.
I know, but again,
they look out of sorts.
I know, but it's a 3-game stretch.
Small sample size.
I have a question. Why do people do that? Why do people take a team at its worst? Let's say they're on a 3 or 4 game stretch. We're not playing very well. Happens to every team. They don't, they just don't play well for a short period of time, even the best teams. But why do fans take that small sample size and then use that to define the team the rest of the way? Like it's impossible for them to, tilt the ice back the other way and play well for a half dozen games. It's so strange for them to focus on that small sample size, 3-4 games, whatever it may happen to be, and then say, yep, that's who we are. That's when the playoffs, that we're going to lose in the first round. I'm like, but what about, we're second in the division. We have a record. We're 18 games over 500, whatever it is. And it's just like, why are you taking this small little sample of the games and applying it to the team when that's not who this team really is? I mean, we've seen them play much better. You know what I mean?
It's because it's not 2019 when we just couldn't do wrong, right? That team, that's part of the problem with that team, and the legacy of that team is that they did so many things right over such a long period of time, and it's kind of become the barometer, right? You can't suck going into the playoffs, and I think that's why a lot of fans get down quickly when there's a blip on the radar and you play like shit 3 games in a row.
It's not like the playoffs. It's not like the playoffs for next week. You know what I mean? It's not like we're playing, poorly going in. We got 20 games to go.
Well, and it's also that, and it's also that at this time of year, you're looking at the calendar and you're like, oh, there's only 8 games left, because typically this is when you're like, okay, what kind of team are we going to get? Season's going a little longer this year. It's extended a little bit. It's through April. I don't think a lot of fans have really, it's not really setting in their head that is what the case is.
I don't know. I just think it's people being negative, and that's just, it's just sports fans. People are living week to week, living and dying week to week with the team, and their emotional swings are crazy. It's weird to me. I don't. Maybe it's just maybe younger people are doing it. I don't know. They're just I've come to learn that this is a long season. I'm not going to get too up or too down on a team based on a few games here or there. It's big picture for me. All right. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery beer. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 28 of season 10 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
I love Nick Leddy.
Leddy for Prez. Let's go Blues.
I was told I wore the exact same hat and shirt for last week's show. Is that true? I'll have to go back and look.
We'll have to look.
I haven't had it on for weeks straight, I promise.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for